Welcome to the Golden Ratio Podcast. I am Jen, GR Mom, joined as always by GR Dad.
Hi.
How's it going, GR Dad?
Fine.
Excellent. The cocktail of the week this week, by way of Imbibe magazine, a magazine I subscribe to and receive in print every month, which is like an old school thing, I think, is called Tasteful Nudes.
Ooh, interesting.
Yep.
Clearly, it's not the social media age.
Tasteful Nudes. They have a great website.
Imbibe.
Imbibemagazine.com. This is a riff on the Paloma. So it is tequila and grapefruit juice, rosemary simple syrup, lime juice, and Aperol. And 2 dashes of Bitterman's hopped grapefruit bitters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Grapefruit bitters.
We have grapefruit bitters. They're not hopped, though. Anyway.
Are you serious? They gotta be hopped?
This recipe requires Bitterman's hopped grapefruit bitters.
How am I gonna hop my bitters, huh?
You have to buy Bitterman's hopped grapefruit bitters is what you have to do. They hopped them for you.
What are you talking about?
There's a company.
I'm not hopping around with no bitters.
This is why I make the cocktails.
I criticize the names of ingredients.
Tasteful Nudes.
That's
There
a
you
good
go.
name.
Yep.
It's a very good name. It would make me want to order the drink.
I mean, exactly, right? Because then you can be like, what did you do tonight? And you're like, oh, I had some Tasteful Nudes. All right.
I don't think I think that far ahead. I just like the name.
It's time for Administrative Corner.
Ooh, I love Administrative Corner.
This is tangentially a fish update.
I think anything tangential is directly relevant to my interests.
A lot of people have been like, guys, do you know there's a new shark movie on Netflix? And I don't think you all understand how deep's not even the right word. There's one guy who's making and may have made a sharksploitation documentary.
Wait, what? Go on.
He's making a documentary about shark movies.
And arguing that it's bad for sharks?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's just making a documentary about
The
the
shark
phenomenon.
movie phenomenon.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
That guy might be the only person on Earth who is deeper in the bad shark movie universe than me.
And they're mostly all bad.
Yes. There's like 3 good ones. I have a list of the bad shark movies that we've seen. The new Netflix one, Under Paris,
Yeah.
is number 80.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I want you all to tell me about the shark movies, but like people tell me all about them all the time. They're like, there's just on one of the boards, they're like, Sharks of the Corn. And I was like, yeah, I've seen it twice. It's got a scarecrow with a corn cob erection. It's bad.
It's that bad. That is one of the worst ones, actually.
Post-apocalyptic commando shark. Seen it. Shark Encounters of the Third Time. Seen it. Sharkensaw Women's Prison Massacre. Seen it twice.
It made no sense the second time either.
Sharktopus versus Whale Wolf. Anything on sci-fi, you guys, I've seen it several times.
Yeah, the increasing number of shark heads. There's like shark.
2-headed shark attack,
Right.
3-headed shark attack, 4-headed shark attack, 5-headed shark attack.
No, they skip
6.
one.
They skip 4, actually.
They skip 4. They go straight to 5.
2, 3, 5, and 6. Seen them all.
Yeah.
I think we've seen 5-headed shark attack twice.
And then shark octopus and
Sharktopus,
fighting
Mega Shark,
crocodilus. I mean,
Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus, you mean? Yes,
Crocosaurus.
I've seen them. So when Netflix comes out with a new shark movie, you best believe that I knew about it 6 months ago.
Yep.
But we finally watched it this week.
The Paris one.
Under Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible name. Terrible movie.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because it was French. That was the only interesting thing.
It was
in Paris.
French, you guys.
It was actually in Paris. I think probably actually in Paris, or a set that looked like Paris.
Yeah.
But it was in French and dubbed, so it had a bit of a disconnect with the mouth movements.
Quite.
But also was just bad. It was not French cinema. It was just bad French movie.
It was in the style of the sci-fi movies, but the sci-fi movies, Santa, Jaws, all these like mega shark,
Sharknado is the classic.
Sharknado.
Yeah.
Like they don't take themselves too seriously, right? Like
Yeah.
they're entertaining. But like the effects are kind of bad.
Mm-hmm.
The acting's mediocre. The plot line is like okay.
Crazy.
But they're also like, it's Santa Jaws.
Yeah.
You guys. He's got a little hat on his fin, and then there's like a candy cane, and so it's like we understand what we are, and do you understand what we are?
That's right.
And this movie did not understand what it was. Like,
no, it was trying to be deep.
That's like Ingo correctly pointed out the whole thing. Okay, there's a shark in the Seine. Now, guys, there are sharks that swim into rivers all the time. And then there's a triathlon that's happening. Ingo's like, so they weren't allowed to say the word Olympics, but there's the triathlon.
The Olympics have a legal team that would sue you into the Stone Age for thinking of 5 rings in that pattern.
So it's very Jaws like. Instead of the 4th of July is going to happen, it is the triathlon must happen. There is a bad mayor who does not care about the well-being. I also want to say that I did like the DC triathlon when there was a bull shark in the Potomac, which is where we swam, and we just swam in the Potomac with the bull shark, and it was fun.
Art imitates life. The
Except
mayor wouldn't shut down the triathlon for the bull shark.
no, because it turns out it's fine. This is the thing that happens. I mean, people do triathlons in like the ocean where there's also sharks.
Shut it down.
And then, you know, so it has all these like Jaws derivative problems, but like doesn't wink to them like all the other movies do.
Right.
Poorly acted. Now,
But it also,
we
I mean,
watched,
one of its grave sins was the triathlon wasn't realistic.
guys, I was so mad.
You were. That was like, it was already bad, and then you got mad.
And I'm like, why am I mad at this? Because for the triathlon, they have like a stage set up over the water.
Giant podium.
And it's got like a red carpet and a podium, and the mayor's going to come and give a talk, and all the triathletes are sitting on the edge of this stage over the water in their wetsuits with their hats, and then she like gives her little speech, is like, go, and then all the triathletes like one at a time like jumping off the little edge. Like that's not how this works. That's not at all how it works.
No, it was bizarre.
It was very weird.
And no mention of the biking and running at all.
No transition zone for this triathlon, which I guess is fine because everybody got eaten by the sharks.
Maybe they knew they were all going to get eaten.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite out of the 80 bad shark movies is House Shark, which is truly the worst. This is where all the characters are named after presidents.
Oh, that's not the underwater house. That's something else again, right?
Yes. No. I mean, yes.
Yes.
House Shark, it's just a house, but then there's a shark in it. At one point, the shark gets a laser gun.
Oh, I do remember this.
There's like...
They keep going in to stop the shark, and the shark repels their attacks with laser guns or with like a gun.
Yeah, like it's kind of like the house is haunted.
I do remember
but
this.
it's a shark, and so if you go in, you end up getting sharked.
Half the action takes place in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Right? And it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just the worst acting. The worst acting.
People, I'm not sure they know which movie they're in.
No, I think that's right. It's terrible. But they've got like a foam shark with a laser gun shooting guys in a living room.
Yeah, like sneaking around corners shooting.
I was surprised and had great joy at that scene. I think you can watch it for free on like Tubi. Don't pay for it.
Don't pay for it.
But like House Shark, great, really, really bad shark movie.
Yeah, that's true. Knows it's bad.
Yeah, I mean, we watched Avalanche Sharks. I think that was a sci-fi one.
Yeah.
You know, any of the sci-fi ones, fine. Sharkula, that was by the Canadian guy, I think.
The Canadian guys are more and more dumb.
But listen, Under Paris, I guess it's like free if you have Netflix, so you could watch it. But it does not capture any of the joy of bad shark movies or good shark movies.
Yeah, it's trying to take itself very seriously. It's very hard to tell who the good guys are because everyone's kind of bad. So I guess that's like French. You know, everyone's kind of unhappy. It's just there's no joy in this.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the sharks have no personality at all.
No.
Sharks aren't really a feature.
And there's very little shark.
Yes, that's right.
Like with the sci-fi movies, it's like, where's the shark? Where's the shark? And then like the shark, like big chomp from the shark. And you're like, okay, yes.
That's right.
We had to wait a long time to get some like good shark action.
And then they still don't. The shark's acting also not very good.
Correct.
Wooden. And to answer the question that I'm sure is on some people's minds, yes, I stayed awake through it.
Yes.
No, I don't really remember how it ended because it got real confusing at the end. Stuff was blown up, but I'm not sure that ended anything. I don't know.
End was terrible. Yes. I mean, normally I live tweet our shark movie viewings on Jen Runs with Dogs, my Twitter account over there. And I'll post like little clips of people getting sharked and then helicopters getting taken down by sharks. People trying to shoot sharks, which never works.
Something exploding. Sharks exploding.
How does the shark die at the end? Is it exploded to death? Usually it's exploded to death. How do they do it? And I started with this one with like I took a little video of the opening scene, and then there was just like nothing interesting to post.
It was just glum for about three hours.
I feel like that. So anyway, we have seen it. Do not recommend. If you would like recommendations for bad shark movies, you just tell me like the thing you want most. Good acting, bad acting, good CGI, bad CGI, like really preposterous situations.
That's right. Spaghetti in place of, intestines. Or
I can absolutely recommend this to you.
Yep.
I actually pitched the AV Club an article about bad shark movies, and they did not respond to my pitch. What?
This is why I don't subscribe to Slate.
I think they were spun off of The Onion.
They can't have my $5. Oh, AV Club? Yeah, I think it was. The Onion AV Club.
Anyway.
Well, they're
Nazi sharks?
just as guilty as Slate.
Nazi
Sharks. There may be a Nazi Sharks 2.
Or
that was the Dark Side of the Moon Nazis.
I mean, there's a movie called Bad CGI Sharks.
Yes,
we watched
self-aware. Yeah,
and it was. Didn't like it, but I mean, honest. I actually tweeted him like, guys, I didn't like Bad CGI Sharks, and the people who made it were like, sorry you didn't like it. And I was like, listen, guys, like deep respect for making
That's
it.
That's
right.
Like,
just wasn't my kind of thing, but I respect you for making the shark movie.
Yes.
Okay, so there you go. If you're like, you know what movie I really liked is Annabelle. Is there a shark version? Yes, there's Doll Shark. You tell me a movie you like. I will give you the shark movie equivalent.
Yeah, there probably are alien sharks. I mean, there's at least some.
Oh, many.
Yeah.
Shark Encounters of the Third Kind. There may be just a movie called Alien Sharks. Yeah, many alien sharks for sure.
There you go.
You tell me what you want. I will give you shark movie recommendation. Okay, so we just had to edit out me yelling at Zola for jumping, or Feta for jumping on top of Guacoman, so that actually transitioned us nicely to dog updates.
There we go. Smooth.
Thank you.
Smooth, Golbeck. Smooth.
So Guacoman had a wart removed from his neck area.
Yeah.
And then he popped all of his stitches out, and then he had a big hole in his neck. And then on Friday, you took him back to the vet, and they stapled it closed.
Yep, that seemed to help.
Yes, so it's better.
But he's working on opening it up again.
That guy, man, he just won't calm down. So Feta was like jumping on him and like had her paws on his neck, and like that's not allowed because we're trying to get that thing to heal closed.
Yeah.
But he's not allowed to swim until it's healed, and
which
that's
is
like
a true tragedy.
2 weeks.
A true tragedy.
But he can't chase the ball. He can't run around because it stretches it. And
it's right where the leash is, so it's very hard to even take him for walkies because that's how I screwed him up the first time. He pulled on the leash, and that rubbed on or somehow broke all the stitches.
The thing is, he's fine. Like, he does not need to do stuff. He's fine for 2 weeks just not doing stuff. You know?
Well, this is why he's such a pain right now, though.
It's interesting. Like, when you're not here, I don't let them swim nearly as much as you do because, like, I just got more stuff to do and I can't dry them.
Yeah.
And he's fine. Like, he just hangs out with his avocado or his shark.
He seems sad.
He's fine. You know what was sad? When he had a big hole in his body. A big
also sad.
Gaping hole.
Yes, and I brought him to the vet and I got it taken care of.
I'm just saying.
It's better now with the staples.
Yeah,
big fan of staples.
Still can't do stuff.
I know.
Okay. Poor Guaco man. I mean, I feel bad for him too.
See?
Yeah, but I don't let him like run around.
Okay, understood.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been quite a trial getting him to heal up.
He's a bad patient.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with like his body not healing up. He just doesn't want to.
His brain.
Rest.
Are you saying it's his brain?
Yeah, it's his mind. Other than that, I think everybody's fine.
Yeah. Zola now weighs more than Feta. I think that we can say that with some confidence.
Is that true?
No.
You've got the...
It's felt. It's relative.
Vibes.
It's vibes. I mean, they were even for a while. I mean, she was 54 and Feta is 55. Feta is always at 55.
Mm-hmm. She needs to be a little lighter, actually. She's chubby.
Yep.
Cannot feel the ribs on that girl.
She may be losing a little bit. I haven't weighed her recently, but I guess she was at the vet's last week because I thought her eye had something in it.
She was real squinty on one eye.
And then the vet was like, "Did she get poked in the eye?" And I said, "Well, maybe you should ask Zola this question."
Zola.
And Zola said, "Yep, poked her. It was me." Yeah, Feta's kind of squinty anyway. That was the problem.
Yes, she is.
So she was just a little bit asymmetrically squinty.
Yeah.
She did have a red eye. I mean, it would look like it got poked. But at least it's not pink eye. It's not some kind of, imbalance in the pressure or whatever those things are called.
Yes, uveitis.
Uveitis. It wasn't that.
Yep.
And it does seem to have resolved.
Yeah.
Right, Squinty?
Other than that, all the other dogs are doing fine. I guess the other update we have is that like 2 years ago, well, let me back up. Let me do a little
That's a pretty far back up already. You're going to back up more than 2 years?
Plant biology lesson.
Beep, beep, beep. Okay, go ahead.
Down here in the Keys and in lots of coastal places, we have mangroves. And our mangroves are very important because they protect us from hurricanes and erosion.
They're
and all
the
kinds
only
of
thing that grows in a lot of these places.
And they grow like their roots are underwater. So if you look at like the Keys from the air, it looks like there's lots of islands, but it's actually just like trees, and they're just like roots are down under the water. So they're really important. And mangroves are one of the only plants that give birth to live young, which is like a confusing thing for a lot of people.
And then they put them in their pouch and they suckle them for 6 weeks.
That's not true.
Oh, no.
Like most plants like make seeds, or they make fruits that have the seeds. And mangroves make baby mangroves that drop off, and then it is like a live mangrove.
I mean, it's sort of like an alien, like these little pods that you think of as alien babies.
They look kind of like that.
These have the same pods, and then they hang down from the mangrove branches, and they drop.
They drop, and then they drop into the water, and they're big and long. They're probably, they vary in length, but say 6 inches long.
Like torpedoes.
Yeah, and like a centimeter across, like in diameter, and they float upright until they kind of hit some like little sandy patch, and then they drop a root in there, and then they make new mangroves. So it's like a live mangrove tree drops off the adult mangrove tree.
That's right. They're buds. Mangrove buds.
They're kind of like buds, but there's like biology websites, and they'll be like they give birth to live
That's
young.
Right. They spread like baby spiders or something.
That's
like
crazy.
It's very weird.
So when it's like and so those little things that drop off are called propagules. And the propagules, there's seasons where there's a ton of them, and they wash up on our beach. And I was like, Ingo, I need you to collect me some propagules. And in a few days, there was like a 5-gallon bucket full of propagules. And they'll start to sprout leaves even before they root.
Yeah.
Because they're trees.
Right. They'll put out roots even while they're swimming in the salt water.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they're like, okay, I have disconnected from mom, and I am a live tree, and I'm going to make roots and leaves.
Yes.
And so I have had a collection, and you can grow these in your house. They do need a lot of light. And before we bought our house down here, I would bring some back, like after we'd vacation, and I'd try to grow them in Maryland, and it didn't work. But they work great here. I just stick them in the window. And so I've had in my office a collection of propagules just like in a vase, because they'll grow in fresh water just fine. And I was like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have one propagule grow into a little mango tree for each of the angel dogs. And Ingo had the sentimental and lovely idea that like we should plant them out at Little Palm Island, where we got married and where we go all the time.
And that already has a lot of mangroves.
Yes, and a lot of them got smashed in Hurricane Irma back in 2017, and they're like, wait, they've come back a lot, but like they're not as rich as they were. And so we're like, this is great. We'll bring them out there, and these little trees, one propagule in honor of each of the dogs, can go at the place that we like to go. And so every time we've gone to Little Palm Island, we have forgotten them.
And they remained on the windowsill here in their vase,
which was fine. And this time we remembered, and I had 2 jars, so I had all the ones that I had done before, and then we have since lost Hops and Vink, and I had 2 extras. I had a few extras, so we brought one for every dog. And we went out there, and today we were like, okay, we got to plant the propagules. We were both a little hungover.
Maybe still drunk.
This morning.
Not clear.
And Ingo, based on the behavior that we were about to discuss, may have been drunk still.
I certainly didn't feel very awake. I mean, it was like 7:30 in the morning. I wasn't there yet.
So I was like, okay, here's a little spot where like it's a little light on mangroves. Let's toss them in here and they'll root and grow. And so we found a little spot, and I'm like, here, I'll film it because we're going to post this for the Patreon followers. And Ingo like throws one in. I'm like, okay. And then he throws one way up in the air. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, just put him in the water.
It got away from me.
It went way up in the air, and it landed like in the branches of another tree. And I'm like, that one is going to shrivel up and die. And I was like,
very sad, that thought.
Which one of the angel dogs was that is now left in the tree to shrivel and die because you, for some reason, were throwing him up in the air? I was actually way nicer about it than that.
You were kind of sad.
I was kind of sad, and I was like, what? I don't understand. You probably were still drunk. I was like, I don't understand why you're throwing them up in the air instead of just like setting them bundle in the water.
It got away from me.
What is it?
The propagule.
How did it go up, though?
Mistakes were made. I can't throw overhand anymore. I get like that Tommy John's problem.
My idea was just like to set them in the water and like let the waves carry them into place.
You're welcome to do that if you wanted.
I think it was gonna, and then you kind of took them. Anyway, it's fine. So I was like, just put them in the water. And so the rest of them went in the water. And I was like, look, it's fine, right? Like, these are not actually the spirits of our dogs. They are just propagules that I have had in my office. And I could tell instantly that Ingo was not going to let this go.
No, you were sad. And also, once I identified a dog's soul in that propagule, I had to save it.
And the problem is that, like, we dropped these from the dock. And the dock is, like, 6 feet above water level. The water's maybe 3 feet deep there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a sandy bottom. Like a lot of the keys, it's kind of like a mucky bottom.
It's that silky mud. It's silty mud. It's like slimy, silty mud.
Yeah, I think people come here thinking there's lots of like big, long, sandy beaches here, and that is not what the keys are. There are a few sandy beaches, but most of the keys are not that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Ingo, you can't, like, there's no way you're going to be able to get it because like, it still is like above head level where we are now, and you're going to be like 9 feet lower if you go in there. And he just
like,
kept staring at
math. I don't think that's impossible.
So he wanders over to like this little spot at the end of the dock where they have umbrellas. Like, so if you're out and you want to walk around, they've got them. And comes up with like golf umbrella, and he's like,
very pleased with myself.
And he's like, I'm going in. I'm like, you're going to sink into the mud. And he jumped in anyway.
I sure did sink into the mud.
Did take your phone out of your pocket.
Up to my knees.
Sunken up to your knees into the mud. Lost a flip-flop.
One flip-flop remains 3 feet under the mud.
Yeah.
It could not be extracted.
Yep.
I was lucky to get my foot out.
Well, he was like fully dressed.
Yeah, no, well, then I was wet. Shorts and a T-shirt. I mean, not like...
You went all the way under, though.
Suit and tie. Yeah, I do remember that.
Head under the water.
But then it went up. I mean, somehow I got back over the water.
You did stand up eventually.
I didn't die.
You did not die. And you brought that umbrella out there, and you did get...
I got the propagule.
Foods the propagule out of the tree.
Gently, and there you go. And then I fell in one more time, and then I had to swim to the ladder.
I was like, I'll pull you up. And he's like, I'm just going to swim over to a little ladder. And I was like, you know what? That's the most sane thing you've done this morning, actually. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So I ended up wet and dirty.
But the angel dog propagules have been planted.
Yep. And I'm advocating for more fully dressed swims. It's fine. It just gets wet. You can dry it. It'll be washed and dried.
It was fine.
The clothes will be fine. I did lose a flip flop forever.
Yeah, that thing's not coming back.
Nope.
No, it's all right. So that was a little adventure today.
Yeah.
Okay, Brody.
I was awake afterwards. Broads.
Poor guy.
We're having thunder, so everyone's a little weird.
That's dog updates. You ready for Taste of the Keys?
Yeah.
From 2-time Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Gwen Filosa, Key West Gwen on Twitter. She tweets, drugs! Scuba divers Wednesday, this is the last Wednesday, found 25 individually wrapped kilos of suspected cocaine in 100 feet of water in the Atlantic Ocean. Divers at Rainbow Reef in Key Largo thought they were moving trash at first. Border Patrol seized the drugs. And they got like little Nike logos on them. Like each brick.
Kind of like fake Nike logos. I don't know what that's supposed to do. Confuse the people who are finding it, I guess.
Well, there you go. So many square groupers, 25 square groupers, that's a school of square groupers.
Yeah, and we also heard someone who cruised the boat that takes you to and from Little Palm Island was telling us a story of finding a ton of $20 bills that had washed up in the mangroves. She's like, it was $200.
Yeah, that's a dream of mine.
Yeah, so they were just running around collecting $20 bills. That trail would lead to our, brick of cash.
That's what I want, a square grouper of cash.
Yeah, the source. They should have followed it to the source.
It's time for...
And she told us about someone's money clip that had fallen off the dock that he said had $4,000 in it.
Yeah, I wonder if he expected the resort to reimburse him for that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. But she said it's still down there somewhere, so I'll be jumping off more docks from now on.
I hope you find it.
$4,000 is worth getting some wet pants.
I hope you find it. It's time for German word of the week.
Oh. German word of the week is Heiter.
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 Yes. It seems to has a ton of meanings.
All right.
Cheerful, serene, bright, cheery, sunny, happy, merry, fair, funny, amusing, buoyant, fine.
Okay.
Sanguine.
Ingo, it's too many.
Blithe.
Stop it.
Careful.
No, it's boring now.
All right. Anyway, it's a word that's used in weather reports a lot.
Oh, sure.
You say, heiter bis wolkig. Morgen wird es heiter. Which means it's going to be sunny.
Pleasant.
And heiter bis wolkig means sunny to cloudy.
Oh.
Which I guess covers most weathers.
Yeah.
But that's a classic weather person's prediction tomorrow. Heiter bis wolkig.
Huh.
23 Grad. Huh. Regen. Am Nachmittag. So heiter. Heiter.
That's a good one. That's a practical one.
Yeah.
Would you say that I'm heiter?
No. I mean, sure, yeah. Sanguine, bright, cheerful.
Yeah, I am.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. It's time for Ingo Corner, where you say whatever you want, and I won't tell you it's boring.
Oh, I'm not. Oof.
Okay, good.
Thanks to everyone who continues to send us snail mail. I still appreciate it, even though Jen thinks everything is boring.
That's not true. I like the snail mail, too.
You should be a generation, whatever, boomer. Not me. You hate everything.
That's not true.
No, it's not
just
true.
Just boring things.
You're heiter. Dang it. All right. Thanks to everyone.
And thanks for listening. And until next time, Slava Ukraini, and don't bet anyone unless they ask you to.
That's right.
Bye.